Good evening, everybody. I would like to tell you 3 stories today. Each one of us is a story. We make our story by making choices and taking responsibility for the choices we make. My first story is about a humble nail file. This story is about a young man who was traveling back through Europe where he bought a motorcycle in Germany. He was coming back home after his college degree, and he decided to ride back from Germany to India. This was 1964. As he came through Turkey into Iran, he was on a desolate desert road, and the motorcycle broke down. So he got off his motorcycle, he was looking at the bike and wondering what the problem could be. And suddenly, he heard some footsteps. When he looked up, there was an old man leaning over the motorcycle. And they communicated through sign language, and the motorcyclist told him that there was a problem with the bike. The old man pulled out a nail file, this very nail file, and he gave it to the motorcyclist. The motorcyclist looked at it, and he immediately knew what the problem was. The contact breaker points had got carbon deposits, and they needed to be cleaned. He used the nail file. The bike started. He wanted to return the nail file. The old man asked him to keep it. So he put it in his pocket, got on the bike, and as he rode away, he looked in the rearview mirror, and there was nobody there. That, ladies and gentlemen, was my father. In 1964, he was coming back to India after his college, and this was the experience he had. And this was one of the most magical, inspirational stories of kindness that I heard as a little girl. I grew up hearing these kind of stories. So travel fascinated me. And of course, the motorcycle was a part of our lives. My brother and I, our whole family life revolved around motorcycles. So motorcycles were an integral part of my life and growing up. It didn't mean it was extraordinary. It was just a love of our family. In 2014, this very motorcycle celebrated her 60th birthday. And to celebrate her birthday, I decided to restore the bike completely. When it was in the workshop, somehow the word got back to BMW about this motorcycle. It's a vintage. They came to cover the story about the motorcycle. And I was featured in their BMW journal. They were writing stories about their vintage motorcycles. And soon, without even knowing, I became a part of that story. My next story is about a young girl I met in Almaty, Kazakhstan. Her name is Svetlana Filatova. She lives in a village called Komsomolsk on Amur, which is 1,200 kilometers north of Vladivostok. I met her in Almaty. She knew no English, and I knew no Russian. So when we met, we were both going to be riding on the part of the old Silk Route, the Pamir Highway. So we started riding from Almaty through Kyrgyzstan into Tajikistan onto the Pamir Highway, and then we were coming back into Almaty. We shared so many stories, and we became the best of friends. From this experience, I learned that language is the least required for communication. It breaks all barriers when you actually connect with other people. You don't need language to connect. Svetlana, after we finished in Almaty, she rode back. She was just 25 at that time. She rode back from Almaty back to Vladivostok, 7,000 kilometers. And that's when the barrier of fear, I realized, can be easily broken if you just have a passion. Now, my next story is about two young ladies I met in Goa. We were fellow speakers at India Bike Week. India Bike Week is India's largest motorcycling festival, where more than 10,000 people come, motorcyclists come, gather to share stories, experiences, um, restorations, anything related to motorcycling. So when I met these two ladies, we spent 3 days together. At the end of 3 days, they actually asked me if I would like to be a track marshal at the motorcycling GP event in Phillip Island in Australia. I was absolutely blown away. Of course, I said yes, but I had no experience. They said, never mind, just come. So that led me to go to Australia and relive another dream of mine, which was being a track marshal at the Motorcycle GP, the World Motorcycling Championships, where I met Valentino Rossi. It was really a dream come true. After the event was over, these two young ladies and I went riding around the east coast of Australia. And that's when they told me they were 65 and 67. And just 2 years prior to that, both of them had ridden around the world on their motorcycles. And through this experience, I learned that age is absolutely no barrier. Though we believe that we're all time-bound, if you have spirit, nothing can stop us. What is common in these three stories? It is the motorcycle. The motorcycle, because I love the motorcycle, I was passionate about it. It took me to places. It taught me lessons. It let me cross barriers. It allowed me to experience. It allowed me to go beyond my comfort zone. When we go beyond our comfort zone, that's where the magic lies. It's a cliched line we keep hearing about, but if you believe in something, when we believe in something and we actually go out and do it, it doesn't come without difficulties and obstacles, especially with people who are near and dear to you, like my husband and my son. They always were nervous about me on a motorcycle because I traveled all over on a motorcycle, and they always were nervous. It was always the first barrier I had to cross. But if you're passionate, because I was passionate, it showed me that the world of possibilities is limitless. The world of possibility is absolutely infinite. Only we need to believe in ourselves. Thank you very much.